It took 7 rounds before former GNCC champ Fred Andrews was able to get his first win in 2002. And despite that victory, Andrews is still 61 behind the series points leader Jason Raines. The GNCC series comes to Mathews Farm for round 8. Hello everybody and welcome to Taylortown, Pennsylvania in the Mathews Farm GNCC race presented by Suzuki. Round 8 action of a series that has seen 5 different winners in the 7 races held so far this year. As everyone looks skyward today, they're going to find clouds that replace rain, but a racetrack that's going to be rather tricky today. The most recent winner, Fred Andrews, looks to do it again.
Yep, here to win as many races as I can. You know, last race went really well for me. This race here is going to be really physical. It's a lot of ruts and a lot of things can happen, and hopefully I'll get me a hole shot, and I'm going to put my Kawasaki out there in front and never look back.
And he's going to do it in hot country on a very beautiful day that challenged a lot of the riders.
With the weather not being that hot, there's going to be guys going fast that normally would kind of be a little bit slower and pace themselves all the way through. Now you're going to have guys going fast right off the bat and fast the whole time. So a good start's going to be real key. Get up in front and ride with the leaders and see what the track looks like the first couple laps, and then go from there.
Scott, it may be a cool day, but it's still going to be a tricky race.
Yeah, this is pretty technical. After a rain, you always get deep ruts, and it looks like it's going to dry up. The wind's blowing. It's going to get better, but it's going to be tricky for the first half of the race.
Here are the names and numbers of the guys you're going to be watching today, including Pennsylvania's own Barry Hawk, the defending race champion here in Taylortown. Well, it's just about time to get going, and we do so from a dead start. Great start for Jason Raines. You saw him walk away from everybody else. He got the whole shot. It's not what the class needs to see here. Guy who's the only multi-time winner on the series with 3 wins.
Looks like Barry Hawkins second, followed by Mike KIEDROWSKI in third on the Suzuki.
Yesterday, the ATVs competed on this course, kind of tore it up a bit, but it looks like it's in pretty decent shape considering the rains have finally stopped.
Yeah, that's Doug Blackwell in fourth on the big Honda 4-stroke. That's a really good showing for Doug early in the race.
Here is a look at the track map here at Mathews Farm.
Now this track's pretty similar to High Point Raceway. High Point's pretty close, and GNCC races have been happening there for years. We've got some creek crossings, some tight woods, and of course it's muddy. It rained yesterday, and ATV races were really muddy, but I think this course is going to dry out. Got some rocks and tree roots.
About 10 miles in length per lap. Should get probably about 6, maybe 7 laps as you take a look at Robbie JENKS on the 8.
And as you can see, it's pretty technical. These guys are throwing quite a bit of roost. It's pretty sloppy out there. The first lap's generally one of the slowest because the guys are kind of just getting a feel for what's out there, being careful.
Always worth mentioning, too, it's not like these guys get a chance to really go out and take a look at the course. Well, they can if they want to walk.
That's right, but they have to walk it the day of the race, and nobody's got enough energy to get up at sunrise and go hike for 8-9 miles and then race a motorcycle for 3 hours.
Chuck Woodford down on the Team Chevy Trucks Kawasaki. Push him back to about 10.
Yeah, Chuck was one of Kawasaki's young hopefuls, you know, probably going to replace Fred Andrews one of these days. Came real close to winning some races last year, broke his leg back in June, and he's just now really getting back up to speed.
A moment ago, we heard Mike KIEDROWSKI talk about the cooler temperatures today. Riders going to be pressing pretty much the entire time.
Yeah, the guys are going to be going really hard. They're not going to get tired because of heat today.
One thing nobody wants to let happen again this week, as it has 3 times in the past, and that is do not let Jason Raines run away and hide. He is your early leader ahead of Lafferty, JENKS, Hawk, and Andrews. More action to come from Taylortown in just a moment. The Mathews Farm Grand National Cross Country Race is being brought to you today by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. And by MSR Off-Road Riding Apparel, innovative off-road riding apparel for riders with a single-track mind since 1971. Back to our racing action here at Mathews Farm, Pennsylvania. We've got ourselves a brand new leader. It's the 7 KTM belonging to...
That's Mike Lafferty, followed by Jason Raines, the number 5 on the Yamaha.
Nice heading through the checkpoint.
That's Robbie Jenks, Rodney Smith.
One of 2 checkpoints around this near 10-mile course. To keep riders honest. Make sure they stay on the course and don't cut any corners. Battle for 5th waging on right now between Jenks Smith and Barry Hawk, the guy who won this race a year ago.
Looks like a difficult spot right there. Mike's kind of struggling, some off-camber, really slippery. The guys have to really regulate the amount of throttle to get the power on the ground through that section.
Rodney Smith and Fred Anderson battle for 4th. Smith down to the inside with a nice maneuver.
Yeah, Fred kind of drifted to the outside. Rodney took advantage of it. And now we have Randy Hawkins on the inside, Cole Calkins on the outside.
And a new race leader in the form of Jason Raines.
Jason looks really relaxed, kind of standing up, letting the bike flow.
And there goes Fred Andrews in 2nd, retaking the position from Rodney Smith and getting past Mike Lafferty. Fred Andrews is on a charge early in this race. Plenty of time for him to get to the front and try to duplicate what he was able to pull off a week ago.
Yeah, that had to help Fred's confidence getting that win last week. But then Mike Lafferty, you know, he's kind of methodically putting himself in position for a championship this year. Not getting too concerned about wins, but pulling off a lot of podiums.
KIEDROWSKI goes by the frame now in 4th place. It's Barry Hawk in 5th. Robbie Jenks, Doug Blackwell back to 7th. We go back to the front of the pack. Jason Raines currently in 1st. You can see Andrews not too far behind him. 1 week ago, Suzuki invited journalists out to check out the new 2003 RM, and that's the subject of today's Suzuki Profile.
What can I say? Beautiful day and a beautiful track and ready to ride.
Well, we're out here at Honey Lake and we're introducing the new 03 RM250, and we kind of thought that it'd be neat to take them out to a unique, real motocross track, and Honey Lake was a good place to go. And just letting them get a feel for the bike and see how it runs, and suspension and everything, and get to ride on a fully prepped, really nice track.
The 2003 Suzuki RM250 has received a lot of refinements, most of them within the engine, most of them designed around trying to create better low to mid-range power without giving up any high-end or over-rail power. On the chassis side, they have modified the forks, some refinements to the rear shock, new rear brake rotor, new front brake rotor, and lots of modifications just to hone in the chassis and suspension so it's a better match with the new engine characteristics and new engine power.
Riding the new bike, we can't wait to get on it for our GNCC program. Our 2002 was a great bike and we're really happy, but with the changes made to the motor and suspension, we can't wait to get on it for the 03 season.
So far initially I think it's really good. I think Suzuki had a good bike last year and they're certainly refining it more with this year. They seem to work really good on the motor. I think they improved the mid-range a little bit, and I think that is that's a big plus for them this year. And the suspension, the chassis, it seems really good. I'm really happy with it so far.
I was a really big fan of the 2002, as is, and the 2003, it's been refined a little bit, and it's even better. So the 2002 was not a bad bike. It came really, really close to winning a shootout last year, and like I said, the 03 is better, so it should be right up there again.
So far the magazine seemed to be really pleased. They know the changes that we targeted were, again, the low to mid-range response, and they all are coming in saying, yeah, you guys really hit the nail there. Suspension, they seem real happy, and I think they're real stoked to be on such a cool track. So I think it's pretty much a home run today.
The new debut of the RM, Lake Okeechobee is GNCC Opens. Change of position up front. Saw Fred Andrews able to take the position over Jason Raines. Lafferty holds on to 3rd. Barry Hawk is in 4th. Mike KIEDROWSKI in 5th. There's one of the many obstacles you must overcome. Roots sticking up out of the course.
Yeah, there's tree roots and then there's ruts, both of which can grab that front tire and throw you on the ground pretty quickly.
Yesterday we saw in the ATV race, that was a pretty tough section for the ATV guys to manipulate there. It was awful slick, but it looks like it's becoming a little more tacky today.
Yeah, the motorcycle riders use something called a seat bounce. That's where they intentionally leave their butt on the seat upon a big compression. And sometimes that'll actually make the motorcycle hop over an obstacle that it wouldn't normally be able to do.
We saw another change to the top three as Jason Raines takes over the top spot as Andrews falls back to fourth. Steve Hatch driven by on the Suzuki is another new race leader. It's Mike Lafferty. Can he win his second GNCC race in 2002? Round number 8, the Mathews Farm GNCC is being brought to you today by MSR Off-Road Riding Apparel. Innovative off-road riding apparel for riders with a single-track mind since 1971. GNCC racing like NASCAR on dirt, complete with the pit stops. Here comes Mike Lafferty into his spot. Orange KTM banner, Jason Raines and his dad Daryl Raines pumping in the gas over in the Yamaha pit.
The guys are basically getting gas, goggles, and something to drink. And sometimes you see them flip something off of their gas tank, and they don't have conventional gas caps. What they have is a little induction system, so it allows them to put the fuel in the bike really quick without having to screw that gas cap back on.
Practically everybody in, including Ohio's Robbie JENKS. As Lafferty gets out of the pits in first place. He was just the winner not too long ago at round 4, his only win in the GNCC series. Fred Andrews comes by second, Raines in third. MX Kid in fourth, and Barry Hawk, defending champ, in fifth. Time now for Chuck Woodford's pit stop. Currently running in 8th place. It's been as high as about 5th or 6th, but of course back as far as 11th or 12th maybe after that first lap incident.
That's Chuck's mom, by the way, running that fuel system.
Lafferty goes by in first. There's Fred Andrews.
And you can see the guys with their feet out quite a bit. Basically, they're using their feet as outriggers or kind of counterbalancers. If something goes wrong, they just put their foot down, regain their balance, and get back on the gas.
Saw some lapped riders riding ahead of your leaders, and that's going to allow some of the field to catch up a little bit. Might even saw Fred Andrews get bogged down just for a moment. We'll have to wait till the next time we see them. Take a look at Rodney Smith.
Kind of an uncharacteristic 9th place right now as Chuck Woodford aggressively goes by Steve Hatch.
Woodford up to 7th place now. Here is Andrews on the backside of Lafferty. Must not have got stuck too much back there in that tricky section. Back on this motocross portion of the track, and that's probably got to favor Andrews.
Yeah, I think so. You know, he's got a little bit of a motocross background, so we get out in the open, and Fred knows how to turn on the throttle.
Lafferty not ready to let it go just yet. Now Andrews streaks away, grabs the lead, the Kawasaki. Back into the woods. KIEDROWSKI maintaining 4th place. JENKS now up to 5th. A little bit ago, that was Barry Hawk.
It looks like the course is drying out. You know, you don't see the mud slinging off of the rear tire like you did early in the race, so the guys are probably getting more comfortable, going faster.
This a battle for 4th now as Woodford has moved all the way up into 5th.
Well, Chuck has made up a lot of ground at this stage in the game. If he keeps on at this rate, he's going to be a factor.
Mark Hyde riding in 3rd behind your 1st and 2nd place guys. Of course, he's not a position rider, just carrying the onboard camera, giving us this unique look at the rough and bumpy terrain. Andrews keeping pace with Lafferty.
I think that was our cameraman crashing right there.
Tough break for Mark Hyde, but thanks for the nice shots, including the one hitting the ground. The 4th still gone. Woodford to the inside, gets the position. Chuck Woodford now in 4th place. Past the checkpoint. We go back now to Jason Raines.
Yeah, Jason's got those big hand guards on. Nobody else is using those today, but that's to keep the mud off of the grips. If you can keep the grips clean, you can really keep better control of the motorcycle and not have to squeeze so tight and prevent some arm pumps.
You saw some of that in the ATVs too, because quite frankly, yesterday was very wet.
Yeah, and those guys, the ATV riders, I think dried the course up a little bit for the bike riders.
Woodford now in second. Now it's Kawasaki's up front. The track is too that maybe Woodford got together with Fred Andrews in the early part of that race, and that's why he went down. So maybe a little reason for the season. He's on a mission.
Yeah, I think there's some tension there in the Kawasaki camp. You know, the top guys get the best rides, and Chuck Woodford is doing his best to be the top guy.
Well, he's the top guy right now. He has passed Fred Andrews and has pulled about a 3 or 4 second gap over the other green machine belonging to Andrews. Where did Chuck Woodford come from this season?
I tell you, I think he was just coming back from that injury that hampered him last year, getting back into shape, and he's definitely got his speed back.
So far this season, we've had 5 different winners. Andrews is now down. Andrews, one of those winners, the most recent one. The only multiple-time winner, Jason Raines. He streaked by in the 5. He's won 3 times this season. Nobody else has won more than 1. Two of the 3 FMF Suzukis by Rodney Smith and Mike KIEDROWSKI. This one's got a whole new look to it, thanks to this man, Chuck Woodford, in for his gas stop. Take a look, though, right behind. There goes Raines. It's now Jason Raines, 3 seconds better than Woodford. Lafferty, Andrews, and Smith round out the top 5. All eyes, though, at the front of this pack. Today's Grand National Cross Country Motorcycle Racing event is being brought to you by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. Visit your Suzuki dealer and see the complete award-winning lineup today. Well, as we went to break, you saw there was a change in front. Jason Raines grabbed the top spot away from Woodford. Mike Lafferty still runs in 3rd. There's a pretty tight gap between Woodford and Raines, so tight that Woodford has said, I'd like to go up there again, and I think I will.
It's pretty impressive, you know. Chuck's been off for a while, and definitely showing right now that he's got what it takes. You'll notice these guys start to really focus later on in the race. They know the track really well, and they start really bearing down as that checkered flag starts to approach. It looks like Andrews is on the ground again.
It's at least the 2nd time that we know of where Andrews has had some sort of excursion off of the Team Green Kawasaki. Mark Hyde in perfect position to catch well, at least the tail end of that. Woodford, though, is flying.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to Chuck recently, and he said, you know, sometimes you just get into that groove where you just can't make a mistake. Everything just kind of goes flawlessly, and he's having one of those days, it looks like.
Well, he's on pace for his best finish this year. Prior to this, 5th in Kentucky. Woodford only has 4 top 10 finishes this season.
As we saw Mike KIEDROWSKI make one of those mistakes. You know, this is kind of Mike's nemesis. He doesn't like the ruts or the rocks. You know, motocross tracks don't have many of those, and he's had to learn how to ride in all these obstacles. He's doing a great job, but still makes a mistake every now and then.
Boy, you just watch Woodford race right now. He's like a man possessed. Just hammering through the mud. KIEDROWSKI, another mistake. Down he goes.
Yeah, there's kind of a snowball effect. When you do make a mistake, you work that much harder to try to make up for that lost time. And when you go that extra, we take that little bit of extra effort, that sometimes means you make another mistake.
It's enough to push you over the edge.
The key is to stay relaxed and stay focused. And when you're having fun, you're going fast. And Chuck looks like he's having fun right now.
Well, he's got to be going fast because Jason Raines is right on his tail.
Rodney's worked his way up. Started off with a pretty slow start, and he's picking guys off.
And series champion 5th. White flag is out now. You see Lafferty coming across the checkpoint. We've got 1 lap to go at Mathews Farm.
Now the top guys know the whole 2.5 hours or so prior to this last lap, all they've done is put themselves in position to go to work right now. So this is when things get really exciting. You can't really win the race in the first 2.5 hours. You can only lose it. So they're all just trying to put themselves in position to try to win this race right now.
The Despite putting himself on the ground twice, Fred Andrews has maintained a top 5 position in 4th. Woodford now has pulled a bit of a gap. He didn't enjoy that about 3 minutes ago. KIEDROWSKI now stuck in the middle of some lap riders, trying to get around them. Mike Lafferty still running in 3rd. Top 2 have kind of driven away from the rest of the pack right now.
These guys like to keep the leaders in sight. That keeps you motivated and actually lets you key off of them.
How in the groove is Chuck Woodford, turning one of the fastest laps of the event, some 30 seconds faster than anybody else on this race course, including his teammate Fred Andrews.
You know, Chuck also said that he went back to some of his suspension settings that he was using last year. You know, Pro Circuits helped him out with that, and he's obviously got the machine working really well.
He can taste victory. The fans letting him know it. Round the corner for one of the final turns. Here he comes, the 6th different winner in the 8 races held this year. Chuck Woodford is your winner at Mathews Farm. Good stuff. 10 seconds better than Jason Raines, Lafferty, and Andrews. Smith round out the top 5, but how about it for Chuck Woodford?
Well, you know, that's Chuck Woodford's very first GNCC win, so he's got to feel really good. I feel like a lot of pressure has been lifted off of him. I expect to see a lot of smiles.
I got off to a good start, and then I kind of went a few steps backwards. I collided with another guy out there and picked myself up off the ground and didn't really think it would happen today. I just thought that it was over, and I thought my chances were over for the day, and I kind of got real comfortable and just started cruising and riding and fell into a really good groove, and the next thing you know, I was starting to catch some guys, and then I started getting really motivated, and I just moved forward, and it was awesome. I got lucky. I passed these guys. We was in a really rutted section, and they kind of went one way, and I went the other way, and it just worked out, that I got by like 3 guys at a time, and I think I just had a little bit of luck going today, and I'm starting to settle down a little more in the pro class, and I'm not getting so nervous and jittery at the beginning of the races, so hopefully things are starting to come together.
He also told his girlfriend before the race, hey, I feel really good today. Nice job. Jason Raines continues to lead by 31, and I think everybody here kind of expected Jason to maybe make that last lap charge. Well, if he did, it came up just a bit short.
It's hard, some races favor certain people. In this race, it was really ruddy, technical, and Chuck, he's got really, really good balance. We've done a lot of riding together, and he's got excellent balance, can stand up in the ruts, and he's got a really strong upper body, and I'm really glad that I did this well. I've never really done very good in the mud, and that today was a good building block for me, and I'm really happy to be up here and put my YZ with the Bridgestone tires up on top again.
Does it get any better than 6 winners in 8 races? Well, we'll find out next when we head to the WISP in McHenry, Maryland. For Scott Summers, I'm Dave Reed. Hope you enjoyed today's Grand National Cross Country Race. Normally hot and dusty, rain has fallen on the GNCC series for the first time all year. So get ready for some muddy, slippery racing as Bill Ballance, William Yokley, and the rest of the riders go to work at Mathews Farm in TAYLORTOWN, Pennsylvania. Dark clouds and light showers, the order of the day at the Mathews Farm course in TAYLORTOWN, Pennsylvania, as GNCC ATV Racing is presented to you today by Suzuki. Hi everybody, Dave Reef along with the 5-time champ Scott Summers, ready to bring you the action on a dark day that actually has seen the mood of several riders to be a little bit brighter. A lot of guys think that with mud on the race course, it will be a big equalizer. It might also be so for the guys suffering from injuries.
I took a pretty bad crash the last race. I got a little bit of injuries. So today I'm kind of going to go out and try to ride, sprain my back pretty good, and yeah, and this week here I'm finally getting to move around pretty good. Not bothering me too bad. I haven't been on the bike, so I really don't know what to expect. So I'm kind of hoping, once that flag drops and the adrenaline goes, I'm going to be in pretty good shape.
Matt Smiley's finished on the podium in every race. That's why he has tied William Yokley with the most ground gained recently by Bill Ballance.
Bill won 4 races, 3 of his last pro starts after having his motorcycle stolen earlier in the year. But today, the mud might worry him.
It's going to be muddy, it's slick, and slimy out here. We've got plenty of goggles. We've got all the equipment that we need. We've got some new Maxxis Razor 2 tires here if we need to strap those on. We're just trying to see what the skies do, if it's going to drop any more water on us or not. But we're ready to go. We're ready to get out here and try to push our luck and see what happens in the mud and try to win a race.
Seems as though mud is on everybody's mind as we take a look at the Mathews Farm course layout.
This course gets tricky. I can imagine when it's wet, it's really tricky. Mud dictates that you have to regulate the amount of throttle as well as the amount of brake in a lot more precise fashion. So it's going to be tough.
Of course, the push is nearly 10 miles in length as riders are out there taking a look at the starting line conditions right now, and you can see there's not a lot of grip for these ATV tires to get a hold of. So some riders have made some modifications, as you're about to see. Guys like Chad Duvall, who found yet another use for duct tape.
My mechanic Brian, he said, I want to put something over your tires to keep them from plugging up before we get down to the line. And I haven't really seen that done here at GNCC, so we'll see how it works.
Scott, the philosophy sounds good at least.
I like the idea. If he can just gain a half a bike length, that might just mean the difference between having vision at the end of that first turn and just being pummeled with mud.
Don't put duct tape on your back tires. You're left to do this, to try to pick the mud off like some of the other guys are doing. Duvall didn't put any on his front tires, but is that going to be as crucial?
I don't think so. Your drive tires are your rear tires. These things aren't four-wheel drive, at least in the pro production class, or the pro class for that matter. The utility quads are four-wheel drive.
Brian Baker, Chad Duvall, Greg True representing your pro production riders as everybody else, plate numbers represent the point position they finished 1 year ago. It's time to get going. Great start by Mathews Smiley. Chris Porch also among the tops. Bill Ballance. What happened to William Yokley, though?
I tell you, it's really important to get a good start, both in the dust as well as the mud. When it's muddy, you're subject to getting hit with all the mud coming off the tires from the guy in front of you. Of course, if you're in the front, there's no mud coming off of those tires because there's nobody in the front of you.
60 seconds back. Here goes our production class. If Yokley was maybe sleeping a bit there at the line.
Yeah, he probably didn't get his bike fired up on his first kick, so it required him to 2 or 3 kick, and that one extra probably cost him a lot of valuable time.
Brian Baker with the hole shot. Current points leader. Look behind him, not far behind Duvall. There's the number 21, Jared Huffman. Things are just getting started here at Mathews Farm for round number 8. When we come back, we'll see how the ATVs are thinning out. Round number 8 at the Grand National Cross Country ATV Racing Series is being brought to you today by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. Visit your Suzuki dealer and see the complete award-winning lineup today. Dave Reef and Scott Summers welcome you back to a very